Morning, BE. Well, I suppose it's afternoon for you now, isn't it? Your goal today is to work on your argument essay. Remember, there are 4 parts to argument: claim, exposition, counter-arguments, your own arguments. As you are reading and studying, you're in the invention stage today. The first step of your invention stage is to read and study about your topic. So while you're reading and studying, you should be taking notes about those 4 parts. Take a piece of notebook paper out and divide it into sections, or open up a Google document and divide it into sections. Put a heading for exposition, a heading for counter-argument, and a heading for argument. As you're reading and gathering ideas about your subject, be jotting down the ideas you run into. So if you run into some information that feels like, oh, this is exposition, this is giving background information, I need to include this idea, jot that down on the exposition section. As you run into counter-arguments, as you run into arguments, do the same. Take some notes to keep yourself organized. Keep your ideas on paper in front of you so you don't forget what you've read. That's the most important part about this invention stage. You guys, I can't emphasize enough. You need to be reading good stuff about your subject. You need to be broadening your horizon. You need to be uncovering perspectives and arguments that you had never thought about before. That's the definition of education, you guys. You take a subject, you think you might understand it, or maybe you know you don't understand the complexities of the issue, but then you start digging into it, you research, you read, and you learn about your subject. You realize things you didn't even know you didn't know about your subject. So as you begin reading, you may not know what your claim is. You may feel like, well, I know what my subject is, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to argue about my subject. You know, I know that I'm going to be researching designer babies and gene therapy with embryos, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Is it ethical? Is it not ethical? Is it good for humanity? Is it not? Is this something we should pursue? It's wise to start with a question like that, and then in your reading you answer the question. The answer to that question will end up being your claim. As you're reading today, if you are not learning new stuff, you need better sources. If you're reading just one-page soundbite kind of articles that really doesn't provide much evidence, you need better sources. You need stronger sources. So keep that in mind as you are digging for sources and shutting out the world, putting away your distractions, focusing in and reading those sources. You should be needing to focus to understand what you're reading. You should be reading stuff that is at that higher level that you really need to focus to get through it. Otherwise, you're not reading good enough stuff. And if you're not learning ideas, if you're not gathering new perspectives, if you're not looking up and thinking, wow, I had never thought about that before, that's a really good point. If that's not happening to you, you're not reading good enough stuff, and you need to let me know that you need better sources. All right? I'll be back with you tomorrow. I need you to be finding sources, reading carefully, keeping in mind, is this good stuff that I'm reading, or do I need to find better stuff? And pencil in hand, annotate as you go, and take notes on your document about exposition, argument, and counter-argument. And I will see you tomorrow.